Hey everyone, it's John Orlando from the PVD Cast, and I wanted to take a few moments of your time to let you know where you can find the PVD Cast. The online home of yours truly, PVDcast.com, is a great place to go, but it's also available through all the major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, etc. There's also live broadcasts of the PVD Cast every single week. Mondays 8 p.m. Eastern through the Facebook page of the PVD Cast, and Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. through the Scene Snobs Facebook page. And no matter how you listen, please make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. And with that, I will chat at each and every one of you later.
Hey everybody, it's CJ Graham, Jason Voorhees. That's right, Friday the 13th, Part 6. And you're listening to the scenesnobs.com.
Animal like drinking! We're drinking. Cheers. One more. You know that song? Pretty good. Only variation. Your lifestyle.
Happy Valentine's.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Scene Snobs Network. But I'm not here to talk to you about the Scene Snobs. I'm here to talk to you about Max and Jason, Three Geeks Podcast. You will probably tune into the Three Geeks Podcast and be like, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, there's obviously more than 3. There's like 89 million of us. We
started with 3.
We're like gremlins. We just keep multiplying.
Yeah, they fed us at midnight. They poured some water on us. And now it's like 78 geeks. But you can be a geek too.
If you like comedy, which we sometimes do, if you like hearing about movies, TV shows, you like hearing hot takes from Max and John, you like hearing somebody who loves most things, but when I get mad about a show, it's pretty entertaining, I gotta say. But no, we're the Three Geeks Podcast. We're just a group of friends that don't talk to each other through the week so we can have natural conversations on Sunday.
Yep.
We're like actually probably the worst group of friends because we don't ever talk to each other outside of doing podcasts. I mean, except for you and I, but that's because we're roommates. But, like Three Geeks Podcast. Tune in, check us out.
And have fun.
Yes.
Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. And recycle your droids.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan, and I'm here to tell you guys about the scenesnobs.com. We're a channel of variety, comedy, entertainment, geek-related, sports, the whole 9 yards. We cover almost every genre. We have so many great shows to choose from. We have shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast, BTB Podcast, The Guapo Show, the Sports Snobs Podcast, the PVD Cast, Jeff Dwoskin presents Crossing the Streams, the Three Geeks Podcast, the Fandom Effect. We probably have the only Matlock-based podcast called Matt Talk, and we're introducing new shows all the time. We have new shows coming up like the Ear Hustling Podcast, Carpool Shenanigans, and of course, from some nobodies, Twitching Upstream and Talking Upstream. So come on, check out the scenesnobs.com, enjoy it, and please leave feedback. Like, follow, subscribe us, and just let us know what you think. We love to have all the interaction. So I, again, am the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan. Check out thescenesnobs.com. You can follow us anywhere on social media at The Scene Snob. And we will talk to you guys soon. Take care. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snobs Podcast. This is a very special evening for us. Frank is here. He's joining me. We are hosting this event, and we have a very special guest here tonight. Someone who probably ruined my 2020 in a big way with the movie we watched tonight, with his performance, because it was so amazing. And the movie is so dark and so wicked. It lives up to its title. I want to introduce him
so
now.
Naturally. I'm sorry, wait, I got to interrupt you. You did that so naturally. You dropped the name of the movie by saying it without really kind of like making it awkward. That was good. I liked it. Good job.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And, you know, I am very excited to talk to him because I've loved a bunch of movies he's in. Loving is one of my favorite movies in the past few years, and he did an incredible role in that as well. I want to introduce our special guest, Mr. Michael Abbott Jr. Michael, hello, welcome to the show.
How are you guys?
After watching the movie again, still scarred. Still scarred.
Yeah.
Wait, this was the Talladega Nights screening, right?
No,
I'm here for some comedy. I don't need any drama.
That's
yeah,
10:30.
I would have taken some wonderful comedy after that. Your performance is brilliant in this movie, man. I was so excited to have you here. Thank you so much. And you have such a great resume, and you kill it in every performance. Like I said, I was talking about Loving, which was just an amazing movie that you were a part of. And if anybody hasn't seen it, go check it out. It's oh my God, it's intense and wonderful. And Mud is one of my favorite movies of 2012, I believe it came out. Yeah, that was
Mick, you're a deep fan. That's awesome.
I do, man.
Why don't we just hop offline here and
Yeah.
have a chat?
We didn't get an opportunity. We didn't get an opportunity to like chit chat before we jumped on live. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm just excited that at least one of us is excited to have me here.
all three of us are. We have how many people do we have live in chat right now? Do you have the number?
We've got a ton of people joining us. I want to say thank you to everybody and these wonderful supporters who watched the movie tonight and are raving about it. They truly loved everyone's performance in it. It's such a visceral movie in so many levels, but you think about and it's I can't even get over the finger scene. Every time I see that scene, I'm like, oh my God. And that's not even the hardest part of the movie. That's the crazy part.
Right.
Yeah, that's just getting you warmed up, I think.
It truly is.
Yeah.
So before we pop into too much of the interview, like let us explain a little bit to you, Michael, what we do. We run weekly watch-alongs where we'll get like 30, 40, 50 people to watch a new movie that's come out. And this week was The Dark and the Wicked. And so we have a crew of about 30 or so people that just got done watching it. And they're all in the chat right now with maybe questions ready to ask. And if not,
I just read the ending is the worst part. That was my favorite comment so far. The ending is the worst part, though.
Well, no, I will say this. Master Shake 1983. I know what he means, and I don't want to give anything away because anybody who hasn't seen it is watching. But your scene, and this is the worst part for me in it, but it is insane. It's your scene when you finally get home to your family. That's what we mean when it's the worst part. Like it's so intense. Like worst part as in it scars for sure.
Yeah, and interesting enough, that was an alternate scene. We when we finished shooting back in what was that, March of 2020? Jesus. No.
Seems
March
like forever.
2019.
Okay.
There was actually a different scene there altogether. And when Brian had finished the film, kind of put an edit together, and they played it for a test audience, and the original scene that was in there wasn't really working for the test audience. It was confusing to the audience, and so he rewrote a scene, and we went back, I guess maybe 6 months later, and shot the scene that's in the movie now when I come home. So it's a lot different than what it used to be, and I think he made the right choice.
I think so too. And again, it's scarring. I got to see this in the theater last November, and it was an experience even then because our local Alamo has been open since July, and we have a group called Psycho Cinema. So we show a lot of horror based and stuff, and this was one of them. And I was just like, "Geez, it really was." It was one we talked about quite a bit after.
Yeah, I know. This was a film that was really meant to be seen in a theater in terms of sound design and everything. And I think in a perfect world, there is still a scenario where folks will get to see this in a theater. albeit it might be a short stint, but I think people should have the opportunity to see it how it was meant to be seen. Now, granted, I know a lot of people have fantastic setups at home, but nothing beats sitting in a packed theater with an audience and feeling the expressions of the people around you. That's 90% of the experience, at least for me.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. And we try to recreate that as best we can with the virtual experience of watch-alongs. So I like how something you tweeted earlier today was something to the effect of The Dark and the Wicked found its audience finally now that it's on Shudder. And so even though you can't be in an audience, I almost put it off. I heard last year so many times, you got to watch this movie, you got to watch this movie. And then I heard it was coming out on Shudder. And I was like, oh, wait, as soon as it comes out on Shudder, everyone's going to be talking about it. That's the time to really get on it. How does it feel to like see everyone tweeting about it, see everyone like so excited about it now? You said you filmed like in 2019. So to you, this is like, it's almost like old news. Like you filmed it years ago. So now it's like, it's coming up again. How does it feel to like have it blow up suddenly and find its audience?
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, when this thing first premiered back at the Fantasia Festival, I kind of equate the excitement now to how it was then, and then there seemed to be like a big lapse in time just because we were so limited in terms of our theatrical release, thanks to the the global pandemic. But I think I'm a total idiot when it comes to horror films. I had no idea what Shudder was before I found out it was going to be released on Shudder. I had to ask people and read about it and find out. I am admittedly not a horror genre fan for no other reason than that they scare the shit out of me. I have enough anxiety without horror films in my life. So it's a world that's new to me that I'm just beginning to explore a little bit. So I had to figure out what Shudder was, and certainly in the last 24 hours, it has become pretty evident that there are a lot of horror fans on Shudder.
It's a powerful streaming service.
I'm glad that the film is there now and has a place to live for a while.
They just announced recently that they hit 1 million subscribers, which to me seemed low. I thought that they had been higher than that, but that's still a great number. And so yeah, you see it immediately hit a large audience all at one time, and that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome, and from day one, the driving force behind this thing has really been social media. I feel like, it's kind of like the little engine that could. I don't know how much money they put behind this money to market it. I know it wasn't much, but social media, tweets and Instagram and TikTok and that's stuff that you can't pay for, and those are the true fans. Those are the invaluable comments and reviews that are going to continue to bring people in, and that's honestly who we make these movies for anyway. That's who we make movies for in general, or for the fans that come in flocks to check them out.
One thing you worked with Brian Bertino on this, fantastic director, and he's made The Strangers, which is one of the best horror movies in my opinion. And this is such a different turn, as in that's more of a human horror. You got your serial killers, and then this is very supernatural. Was stepping into this and working with Brian, how was that? He obviously has a grasp on what horror is. Is there anything he kind of made you go watch along the way, or to kind of connect?
I mean, Brian is a very quiet, mysterious guy, but he's also a very down to earth everyday guy with a huge heart, and he knows how to communicate with actors. Marin and I, this was both of our first horror films. Neither one of us had ever done a horror film before. So he really took us under his wing from the beginning. And because it really was, to a certain extent, relearning the film medium, because there are so many more setups in a horror film than what you're used to on a regular film or television set. One of the first days that we were in production, I remember Marin and I like looking at our watch going, holy fuck, how long is this going to take? Like we're still on the same scene we started shooting 12 hours ago. What the hell's going on? And then Brian took us aside and he explained the I don't know if you've got the triangle and how the camera has to be set up in a triangle for each scare shot to set in order to sell a scare. And when he kind of dumbed it down for us, it all made sense. But we were going into this because on paper, this film reads very much like a family drama, a psychological thriller with horror elements, which is one of the things that I thought made the script so brilliant, because he was able to meld those two worlds together. That and the fact that the film was very personal for him. He wrote the script on the actual farm that we shot on. That's the farm that he grew up on as a kid. So he has known for a long time what exact shots he wanted and where he wanted the camera placed. So it was a very personal film for him. And so I think because of that, it kind of resonated through his communication into us, and it really kind of made it, it's a film about families, and the cast and crew really, we were so isolated in the middle of nowhere, Texas, pre-pandemic. This would have been a perfect pandemic film to make because we were within our own little bubble, in this tiny town, no one around, no neighbors, nobody knew what we were doing. Nobody knew we were there. So it was a tight knit group of people. And I think that really plays into the film, and the farm actually becomes a main character itself, which I think is really cool also.
Yeah, we have a couple of people asking questions, and one I was pretty interested about too was the cinematography with the lighting. It seems so minimal. Like, how was it on set? I mean, it's gotta be. I mean, he knows this. You said he grew up there, so he knows every nook and cranny of spots. Like, how was the lighting there? Was it minimal at best, or?
It was very minimal. The crew did a fantastic job of taking the elements that were already there and growing upon them in an organic way.
Nice.
But for the most part, the light that you see is the light that's on that film, and or the light that's on that farm. I'm sorry, but even in terms of set dressing and props, and those were all things that were there. None of that stuff was brought. Aside from fake goat parts and whatnot. Obviously, those things weren't there, but. The three-legged goat was there. That was not CGI. That was an actual three-legged goat. That goat made more than Marin and I combined.
That's awesome.
Had a huge trailer. Astronomical cocaine budget for that three-legged goat. Just FYI.
Need some more C-47s on set.
The crew did a fantastic job at just taking what was already there and just growing on that just enough to where it would read on screen.
Yeah, you guys, and they talked about your chemistry. Everybody's talking. Between you and Marin, how was that? Like, did you guys get together before? Did you know each other before?
We did. I actually produced and started a movie back in 2016 called In the Radiant City. And Marin and I had played brother and sister in that film, and we only had one scene together. But it was the most pivotal scene in the film. So we had spent a lot of time together, just kind of creating the backstory for those siblings in that film. And after that experience, we we became really close over the course of that production, and stayed friendly, stayed in touch, and we knew we wanted to work together again. And there was actually another actress attached to the role of Louise for this, and at one point they had to move the schedule, and when that happened, that actress had to bow out due to prior obligations. And I went to the producers and was like, "You guys have to hire Marin for this. I mean, you have to at least let her audition." I thought she was absolutely perfect, and I'm so glad that they ended up with her, because she runs away with it. I mean, it's her movie. It's in my opinion, there is no other actress, certainly in my generation, who is equally as transcending on stage as she is on film. She commits 150% of herself to everything she does, and on top of all that, she's a fantastic woman and super talented. And I'm thrilled that I had an opportunity to work with her in this.
You're the type of person that anyone would want to work with. That would like promote the people that they worked with so highly, like you just did. That was incredible.
Well,
that's awesome.
Let's be honest, you're only as good as who you're on screen with. And if I can continue to surround myself with fantastic people, maybe I can fake my way in this business long enough to stick around for a little bit.
Amen.
Well, I have no doubts with that, honestly.
You said you weren't a big horror fan in general, and I gotta acknowledge there's a little audio thing going on. Can you hear?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Are you using an iPhone?
Got worse.
Are you using an iPhone, Frank?
I am.
No, I'm on the computer. I've been muting myself.
I think it's the iPhone. That'll happen sometimes without. Do you have your earbuds in?
I tried to use my earbuds, and it said they weren't compatible.
Oh, that's
wow,
but you can hear us well enough. It's not like distracting you that badly.
What's that now?
I guess it is. That answered the question.
You get one of these, Frank. You get one of these.
I asked if it was distracting you that badly. The audio.
It's not distracting. As long as I can hear your question, I'm fine.
Cool.
You know, I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I've got semi trucks and homeless people yelling out my window. So it's yelling over them and the crackling of the foam. I'll be fine though. As long as this stays filled, we'll be good.
That's fun.
Awesome.
So would you consider being in more horror movies in the future? Is this a genre that you'd be interested in acting in the future?
I mean, you know, I would never rule anything out. Let's put it that way. Like I said, one of the things that really drew me to this script from the beginning was that it wasn't what I would call a traditional horror film, what I used to think was a traditional horror film. I had no interest in running through a forest away from a boogeyman with a hacksaw, you know. But what really drew me to this was that I felt like they were real people dealing with a dire situation, dealing with loss, dealing with being alienated, dealing with the death of a loved one. And again, this is all pre-pandemic. And I think this film is resonating with people in a different way now than it would have had it come out, say, a year and a half ago, prior to all of this going on. I think, you know, I think we're going to take a lot less things for granted once we get through this whole COVID attack, and I think family is going to be at the top of that list. So I think, you know, I think this film has been difficult for a lot of people to watch. I think there are some people who probably shouldn't watch this film.
This is very, very similar to something like Hereditary that was very difficult to watch.
Yeah, and, you know, the producers are probably cringing from me saying, telling people not to watch the movie. But I think those people will know who they are and will know enough about the film to proceed with caution. We'll say that.
You're speaking to the audience who will hear you say don't watch it and jump to watch it.
Yeah, that's secretly what I'm doing.
Exactly. So here's my follow-up question to that, though. Then movies like this can have a lasting impact for decades. Like, I could see a movie like this being a classic. Do you consider the legacy that something like this may have? Like, how you could be at a horror convention 25 years from now talking about something like this? Like, does something like that cross your mind?
I mean, that's great. I mean, that's certainly exciting to think about. It's not something that I personally think about. I try to focus on doing good work and being truthful in the moment and taking direction as best I can and becoming my character to the highest degree that I can do. I certainly know that The Strangers is a film that people still talk about today, like it came out last week, and are still just as impacted by it after having seen it, 100 times. And I think that speaks more to the filmmaker. I think that speaks to Brian's expertise and his mastery of the genre. So is that exciting to me that we could be talking about this film 10, 15, 20 years from now? Of course. Would I love it? Yes. Does it, if we're not talking about it, does it change the experience? Do I feel any less about the film? Absolutely not.
That's the perfect answer, and I wouldn't expect any less. It's a beautiful film either way, and you were terrific in it.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a few questions from some of our audience. One was the scene where the old man is on the ceiling. Do you know how that was achieved? What they used was.
You know what? I could say yes, but I don't know all of the specifics because it was probably one of 6 days that I wasn't on set. So I don't want to say yes and then not be able to go into an explanation for how it was pulled off.
That's completely fair. Another one I'm really Tim asked that I'm really intrigued to know is, like, what was the most difficult scene for you to film, and how did you mentally prepare? This is from Master Shake. How did you mentally prepare for the existential nature of the film?
There was how did I mentally prepare? I mean, we pretty much stayed prepared for the full 5 weeks, 6 weeks that we were on set and shooting. I mean, as I was saying before, we were totally alienated in the middle of nowhere, Texas. So there were no distractions. So all of our focus was on the work that we were doing. And I felt very confident in the relationship that Marin and I had built, and that the communication between Brian and Marin and I was on target, and he felt comfortable guiding us however which way he saw fit. So I, in terms of how did I prepare, I prepared for it just like I prepare for any other project. I do the work beforehand and then lay myself in the hands of the director. Awesome. What was the most difficult scene? I think the most difficult scene for me was probably in the barn, seeing my mother walking towards me, and then her showing up behind me, and then me ending up on the ground. We actually broke that up into a couple of days. That was a pretty big undertaking, but just I think mentally, psychologically, emotionally, that was probably the heaviest scene for me. Which, hey, isn't so bad considering what Marin had to go through. I felt like she really got put through the ringer. So I think I had it pretty easy. Oh, actually, the scene with the kids, coming home to the kids at the end, that was also a very difficult scene, but honestly, that was probably easier for me because I was able to think of my own kids, and that seems like a cheap way out, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's a great answer. We appreciate that. Definitely. I mean, we are fans of the movie for sure. I love your work. I think you've been fantastic in all of your work.
Including the one I noticed that you had Daredevil in your bio. I was like, who was he in Daredevil? I was like, so I clicked your junkie in Daredevil. that's the character title. I don't know what episode of Daredevil?
Oh God! Oh, you shouldn't have asked me that. You should have asked me beforehand, and I would have told you. I was a heroin dealer.
Okay.
And actually, yeah, that was quite an experience. I actually got punched by Charlie in that.
Oh no, Charlie Cox.
Yeah. So that's one I will never forget.
My bad. Yeah, we should have talked about it beforehand. I wouldn't have asked.
It was I had a blast doing it. It was just it was a lot of fun. It was a little rushed. Let's say that.
Yeah. No,
you're a man that has in so many levels. You stood toe to toe on screen with some of the great. I mean, Burt Reynolds, Matthew McConaughey, so many more. Joel Edgerton. You're right up there, man. You've done terrific work. I am a fan. I love your movies. I love what you bring to them. Compliance. Was a great movie, and I know you were in that. And you've done fantastic work, man. I'm very
thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and tout the movie, and I appreciate what you guys do too. Really bringing some awareness to some of these films that might necessarily or might not necessarily get the exposure that some of the bigger budgets will get. So I appreciate what you guys do too. This means a lot for film fans. So keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for joining in today.
Of course.
Appreciate everybody.
You have another screening. I know you need to go to that screening.
Yeah, we got Hush is playing.
Push it off. We could say start at 10:05.
Oh yeah. Everybody's good there. Like Hush is starting in a little bit. That was another great movie, Mike Flanagan movie. Everybody should check out. But yes, Michael, thank you so much again for joining us. Everybody, if you didn't check it out, or you're watching this later, or listening to this later, make sure you check out The Dark and the Wicked. It is a truly fantastic horror film. We appreciate you all guys jumping in. One thing I do want to bring up, if I can, the scenesnobs.com is hosting next week an 8-hour fundathon to save Brady, a puppy who needs surgery. We're doing that next week, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. I just wanted to say that, so everybody join in, and you can go to the GoFundMe and donate now. But we want to thank our guests, Michael Abbott Jr. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. Everybody is so stoked and love the movie. So, you were just awesome to do this with us.
Thanks, man. Let's save that puppy.
We're gonna do our best, man. Thank you so much.
You got it. Take care, guys. Enjoy your night.
All right, you too, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Well, Hush is starting up next. Make sure you guys go and queue it up. Get ready. Get on the Discord so you can, go along with everybody. That was awesome. Michael's just a great guy. Fantastic.
That was great. You could tell he was having a little issues hearing us. But we got through it. That was a great interview. That was so much fun. Next week, I'm about to throw it on Twitter and Discord. Next week, the director of Open 24 Hours is going to tweet with us. So 2 weeks in a row, we're going to have filmmakers with us. He's not coming on YouTube or anything. I tried to get him on YouTube, but he's going to be like working on some music video all day. So he's like, I'm going to try and tweet with you. But we're going to tweet with him. You can watch Open 24 Hours and Lucky. Lucky's the release on Shudder next week. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Mick, it's always freaking a pleasure hanging out with you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, brother. And one thing I will pitch right now is make sure you check out our new show, the Final Onesies Horror Podcast. We're recording this weekend, first episode, and we are going.
And you were nearby. I would go grab it, but it's in the other room.
Yeah, mine's upstairs too. So, but like, yeah, definitely, just check it out. Join us, and I'll be there with Hush because I love that movie, and I want to be there for Midnight Movie.
Me too. Cool. So I'm sure, I don't know if everyone pressed play or not, but yeah, everyone get ready to press play on Hush, and we'll see you in Discord.
All right, take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.